Okay, everybody, let's get this show on the road here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Winnetka Village Council regular meeting for May 7th, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everybody to mute or turn off your cell phones or other electronic devices. And I'll ask Rob to do a roll call for attendance.
Thank you. Trustee Apatow? Trustee Orsic?
Here.
Trustee Handler?
Here.
Trustee Dearborn? Here. Trustee Albinson?
Here.
Trustee Dahlman?
Here.
President Rintz?
Here. Item 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance, and Trustee Handler has agreed to lead us this evening. Okay, item 3 is the village clerk's report election results. And the village manager will now report the results.
Thank you. The Cook County Clerk, having completed a canvass of all the votes cast for trustee for the village, hereby certifies the following vote totals. Robert Apatow with 1,234 votes, Christina Dahlman with 1,213 votes, Kimberly Handler with 1,202 votes, for total votes cast 3,649, and the election has been certified by the Cook County Clerk, Karen Yarbo.
Great, thank you. Okay, item 4 is the village clerk will administer the oath of office to Trustee Robert Apatow, Trustee Christina Dahlman, and Trustee Kimberly Handler. Sorry about that.
Let's do these one at a time. Raise your right hand, please. I, Robert Apatow,
I, Robert Apatow,
having been elected to the office
of
village trustee in the village of Winnetka, in the county of Cook, in the state of Illinois, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village trustee according to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I, Christina Dahlman,
I, Christina Dahlman,
having been elected to the office
of
village trustee
village trustee
in the village of Winnetka,
in the village of Winnetka,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
in the state of Illinois, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of village trustee according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, please raise your right hand. I, Kimberly Handler,
I, Kimberly Handler,
having been elected to the office
having been elected to the office
of village trustee
of village trustee
in the village of Winnetka,
in the village of Winnetka,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
in the state of Illinois,
in the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of village trustee
of the office of village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, congratulations to everybody for another 2 years. We'll move forward here. Item 5 this evening is quorum, and Rob will check for the upcoming meetings.
Yes. May 14th for the study session and May 21st for the regular meeting. Are they all looking okay?
I will not be here.
Okay. Not on the 21st. Okay, thank you.
Great, okay. Item 6 is the public comment. This is the time of the evening where anyone in the room who is interested can come up to the podium and share your thoughts with Village Council on any item that is not on tonight's agenda. So if you're here for either the playground or what's the other one? Landmark, you have to wait till then. Steve?
Yeah. My name is Steve Juliuson. I'm been asked to read a letter from Philip Enquist. At first, I had to get a visual aid. This is Philip Enquist.
Steve?
Philip Enquist is, to introduce him, is a native of Winnetka and is in many ways a favorite son. He is a partner of the Chicago office of Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill in charge of urban design and planning and is a fellow of the American Institute of Architects, FAIA. He's also taught at Harvard University and the University of Michigan and has won numerous architectural awards. Mr. Enquist focuses on strengthening the physical, social, and intellectual infrastructure of cities, but his practice also extends to regional ecosystems like the Great Lakes with his conception of the Lakeside Master Plan. His expertise makes him extremely well qualified to provide an opinion on the lakefront. Mr. Enquist has requested this letter to be read to the Winnetka Village Council and to have it placed on in the record for both this board and for the lower boards. Thank you. Start of the letter. From the very beginning, the design modifications to Centennial Beach have been driven primarily by the Winnetka Park District's interest in designing a community beach that prevents public access along the shared Ishbia property line, the south edge of Centennial Beach. The Winnetka community members have seen an array of proposals from fences to high metal louvered panels to rose hedges and raised planters. A dog beach with fences and the addition of a major stone breakwater are now proposed. The stone breakwater has not been proven that it is needed. What purpose is it serving? For many years now, the public has repeatedly asked for a simplified version of the beach design and a preservation of the openness and vast views that it currently offers today. The evidence or proof of needing new stone breakwaters to prevent sand erosion has not been provided to the public. In fact, there is an opposing evidence that stone breakwaters actually increase the erosion of sand beaches. The cost of sand replenishment annually has not been defined. The high fences extending out along the proposed breakwater defining an exclusive dog beach is unprecedented. These proposed barriers and obstructions will continue to fragment our lakefront, challenge the visibility and safety of swimmers, and still may not protect our shoreline from the ongoing future climate challenges we face in this region. A 2022 American Geophysical Union study projected that baseline water levels for Lake Michigan will rise by half a meter, that's 19.68 inches, by mid-century due to increased rainfall. My question to the board are, has a proposed breakwater design been driven by the adjacent Ishbia property privacy issue or the more serious threat of an anticipated climate change challenges that we face? Will the proposed breakwater help to protect the beaches from the projected lake level rise in this century? Can the Winnetka Park District Board communicate to the Winnetka general public the hydrologic data used to create this proposed breakwater design? Finally, is it possible that in a few years we will face climate and lake level challenges which will underline the shortfall of this current design proposal? Again, we ask the Winnetka Park District and its board to investigate smarter and more resilient solutions and look beyond the driving challenge of creating privacy to an adjacent property. Much more is at stake for our village's lakeshore. Phil Enquist, resident of Winnetka. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Next on the list is Randy Whitchurch. Should I put your name on there, Katie?
Okay, can you hear me? Everybody back here?
We can hear you.
Clear? Okay. My name is Randy Whitchurch. I live at 143 Fuller Lane and have lived there for 41 years. So that qualifies me as a long-term resident. I'm speaking to you this evening in the hope you will intervene to make the Park Board come clean about the full cost of the Elder Centennial Development Plan and to put their plan to public referendum. It's really quite simple. How much do they plan to spend? What are we getting for our money? And most importantly, does the public support their plan? Over the past 2.5 years, we have asked the Winnetka Park District to publish a comprehensive budget for all 3 phases of the Elder Centennial Beachfront Development Plan. They have refused. Either they don't have a budget, or they have one but won't disclose it. It's either business malpractice or a willful lack of transparency. Both are unacceptable. We estimate that the full cost of all 3 phases of the development plan exceeds $24 million. This is an enormous amount of money. The WPD might dispute our estimate. Well, prove it. No response. Instead, we get updates on new cost estimates versus previous cost estimates for various elements of the plan, such as the proposed boardwalk. No actual versus budget. No updates to the projected total spending versus plan. This is sloppy, unprofessional, and not acceptable. I might add, as a former public company CFO, this borderlines on a firing offense. We have also requested multiple times that the Park Board spending plan, whatever it is, be put to public referendum, as has been the case in the past for much smaller amounts of money. The Park Board tells us they don't need a referendum. What's that all about? It's our money, not theirs. Yes, they should get our approval. The WPD need only to look to Kenilworth to see best practices at work. Kenilworth did a survey of their residents and gave them a choice between alternative beachfront development plans. Here, no survey, no alternatives, no referendum. Why? It's quite clear what's going on here. The WPD is afraid that if they disclose the enormous costs of their vision for Elder Centennial, it will be emphatically rejected by the residents of this community. So instead of full disclosure, they're pushing their plan through piece by piece in the hope we won't notice. Well, we have noticed, but we need your help. We need a spending plan for the entire project. We need a plan to be subjected to public referendum. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Next up is Ted Winnichenko.
Hello, Ted Winnichenko. So first, I'm glad to see that no one has metamorphosized into a gigantic insect. It's good to know. I don't know, for those of you that have read the complaint. Anyway, I am here again, as I've said. We're a month out from when the board is required by the OMA to review closed session minute meetings every 6 months to see if ongoing confidentiality is still required. And again, there were 2 meetings back a year or 2 ago, setting a price for a piece of land that the village no longer owns. And it seems like there is no reason that the discussions at those meetings, and as reflected in the minutes, require ongoing confidentiality. So in the interest of transparency and open government, I will keep reminding you, as I said, until I am dead, that you should make those public. And then the other thing that I'll try to talk less than 3 minutes. So we're going to also, I think, going forward, spend time talking about all the street and beaches. As we know, the Park District, the village has about 50% as much lakeshore, public lakeshore as the Park District. Yet, while the Park District is talking about nuances about who can go where and why and when, the village essentially has barred public access to all of its lakeshore. Some subtle exceptions, but basically it's impossible for the public, I'm using that a little bit of creative license, to get to any of the village-owned beach street ends. And it shouldn't be, because this council had previously determined that some of those beaches would be accessible to public, and later staff changed that and got rid of access. The village has ceded land to private owners along those beach ends by shrinking the right-of-way to make traffic passage hard. At the bottom of the ravine, they could have easily put in a few parking spaces for people to go out, but instead it's all locked off with no parking signs, I guess, except if you're a village vehicle, in which case it's okay to park along Sheridan or in that space because you probably won't get a ticket from the police. And I just think it's wrong. And so I think going forward, we're going to spend a couple minutes every meeting talking about all the individual street ends and seeing if the village will consider returning those street ends to the public or whether they're going to continue to cede them to the private owners next door.
Thank you, Ted. Katie Stevens.
Hi, my name is Katie Stevens. Is this working? Okay. I never really thought I'd say this, but I think the new plan from the Park District is worse than the louvers. Never thought I'd say that. You, the Village Council, just took an oath, several, you all took it, is responsible for the health, safety, and welfare of residents. The lower boards will soon begin reviewing the WPD Elder Centennial Plan, and I want to make you aware, after 4 years of studying this, some serious concerns I have about the plan. Number one, safety. Elder Beach has been closed for 4 years, and yet it is packed, and I have photographs every weekend with swimmers and people on that unsafe pier. Talk about an unsafe situation. The new plan for Elder Centennial will make those beaches way more dangerous. Instead of increasing the sight lines and ease of navigation like our other neighbors in Kenilworth, Highland Park, Glencoe, Lake Forest, and ease of navigation for non-motorized recreation, there will be 225-foot long rock wall and a fence in the lake to the south, and to the north will be the large, very wide break wall with the stormwater, allegedly the stormwater pipe, and a fence in the lake to the south. And then on the outer side, there'll be 2 more rock walls. To the north will be a pier, and the rock walls will be 7 to 10 feet high, and the water levels currently are going down. Today it's at 578, 575 and a half, 578 and a half, 575 and a half. This means no sight lines for beachgoers at all. These long rock walls push all of the swimmers, paddleboarders, and kayakers much further out from the shore, putting them at more risk for riptides and difficulty returning to shore if they're into trouble. We all kayak very close to the shore, not far out there, so that we can get back to land if there's an accident. And I'll be the first one to tell you it's happened to me and my husband. In order to save someone, what you don't see on that plan, it's not readily visible, is you'll have to access at the bluff, bottom of the bluff, and then at the bottom of the bluff, you need to go to the ADA, up a ramp to the ADA path, and then once you're on the ADA path, you've got to, first of all, you've got to go, the rock wall goes all the way to the bottom of the bluff. So you've got a 10-foot wall. That's where the access is, way up at the bluff line. So you've got to go up the ADA path, you got to go first you have to get from the water line to the beach, then you have to get from the beach to the path, then you have to get from the path on the southern end up a 70-foot bluff. Okay, I'm already tired. Then I've got to get down 70 feet, and then I've got to go 100 feet to the water line. Okay, you tell me. First of all, you can't see the people, can't see a kayaker, can't see a paddleboarder. How is this possibly safe? As you all know, we had 4 tragic incidents this year. This is making it more impossible. We had 4 accidents with complete sight lines. So it's impossible to get over the rocks because they're covered with moss. Many of you may not know that. And there's 6 feet of rock under the water that you can't see. So if there are waves and a lifeguard were to try and get on the rocks and dive, they're going to hit the rocks. Currently, there are no stone breakwaters at either beach. The Park District has not provided any data to show that they will do anything but create an extremely hazardous condition. Only a modeling study done by a licensed coastal engineer can predict what is needed to do and what's minimally necessary. Kenilworth created this data before even beginning, like he said, so I'm not going to say it again. We're counting on you to get a coastal engineer. Health. In 2011, Elder Beach was named the 2nd highest most polluted beach in the nation. Yes, the nation. Stormwater is the #1 cause of beach water closure and contamination per the EPA. The Park District was to put public swimmers at Elder Beach next to the stormwater pipe and the pollution, and put the dogs at Centennial Beach, which on June 16th, I believe of 22, the person at the southern end of the beach said he wanted the dogs, not the people.
Katie, it's going on 5 minutes.
5? Okay. Elders close more often than any other beach. We have 13,000 residents who have very limited beach access. I'd like you to look at the ADA plan. I'd like you to move the taxpayers, the taxpayers, to the south, access at the beach line, lower the rocks, take out the walls, take out the fence. The fence is on top of the rock wall, so don't measure the fence. And test the water. We've asked for 4 years for the water to be tested. It hasn't been tested since 2019. And I have this is not part of this. I have something I'm going to hand you on the stormwater, but I left it in the car, and I didn't want to miss this, so I'll go get it.
Thanks, Katie. Elijah, did you want to speak?
Hi, Elisha Gray, 1125 Spruce Street, 44 years in Winnetka. I wanted to thank the council and the village for sponsoring Green Bay Trail Day this year. That will be on July 27th. Put it in your calendars. You've got phones, you can put it in your calendars. It's a fun day that demonstrates all of the attributes of a healthy Green Bay Trail. We continue to work to make it even more healthy as we move south. I'm here as a representative of Friends of the Green Bay Trail. Thanks for your support.
Thanks, Elijah. Okay, and that's the last for public comment this evening. Yes, you do. But go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry. Right here at the front table.
I guess that just shows how long it's been since I've spoken. That wasn't the case before. Well, before I begin, I'd like to thank you all for taking the Mayor's Monarch Pledge yet again, and I really appreciate your efforts to keep our town pollinators safe. Tonight, I wish to comment on the forthcoming consideration of the Winnetka Park District's bluff and beach protection plans. As I understand it, the village ordinance requires that the bluff erosion protection plan's heights and covered constructions will be no greater than what is minimally necessary to achieve the intended and proper purpose of the project. To determine if the Winnetka Park District's bluff and beach erosion protection plan meet the ordinance's standard of care, the Village Council and its subsidiary boards should compare it with the just completed bluff and erosion beach erosion plan created by the Kenilworth, the village of Kenilworth. This plan consists of two alternatives. There's a straight stone north groin and a south groin, and then Plan 2 is Plan 1 plus a T on the north groin. The beach is 600 feet long, and Plan 1 will only cost $992,000. Plan 2, which includes Plan 1 plus an addition, will cost $1,350,000. The more expensive plan will only cost $2,250 per lineal foot. I would ask that that be compared with what is being planned by the Winnetka Park Board. A summary of these plans and the bids, these were bids by contractors, so these are not engineers' estimates, was presented to the Kenilworth Board of Trustees on 15 April 2024. The coastal analysis was performed by GZA for the project that included selection of design criteria, which are the water level and offshore wave. They employed wave transformations to nearshore federal standard Army Corps of Engineers computer models for the calculation of the nearshore wave height, the wave overtopping rates, the wave run-up, and requirements of the revetment stone sizes. Now, returning to the Winnetka ordinance, addition of the covered construction and any related structures to the height in the Winnetka ordinance implies that other considerations and related structures should be included in the analysis of what is minimally necessary, such as the volume of filling in of the lake, for instance. Unless covered construction and any related structures includes the volume of stone groins, not just their height, but the volume of the stone groins, it is possible to widen without limit and extend excessively a rock groin and not violate the village ordinance. So I would trust that you will look at more than just the height of whatever is being constructed and its complete effect and cost. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chuck. We good now? Nobody else? Okay. Moving forward. Item 7 this evening is reports. We'll start with the trustees. Tina, any report this evening?
No report.
Bert? No report. Bob?
No report.
No report? We're
No
gonna call me Tina?
I was going to call you Tina. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on tonight,
I guess
Kim.
we just met.
You look different tonight. What can I say? Bridget?
No report.
Rob?
No report tonight.
Oh, brother. Village attorney?
No report tonight.
Village manager?
A brief report. Today, we received notice that the village will be receiving a $300,000 grant for infrastructure improvements. This was supported and submitted by Senator Laura Fine. And the grant application and the grant agreement, Tim Sloth will be working on that information. But essentially, we had earmarked those funds for the Business District Revitalization Fund.
Oh, wow.
That was good
That's
news.
great
Excellent.
news.
Great news. Send our
pay our
thanks to Tim
salaries.
and his staff on that, too.
No roses.
Okay, Village President, I have no report this evening. Item 8, establishment of the consent agenda. Does any trustee wish to remove any items on the consent agenda for a separate vote? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the final form of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
That's a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. I will now ask our village manager to read the items on the consent agenda.
Thank you. Approval of the Village Council minutes for April 2nd, 2024 regular meeting, the April 9th, 2024 study session, and the April 16th regular meeting. Approval of the warrant list dated April 5th, 2024 through April 18th, 2024 in the amount of $2,429,235.64. Ordinance number M06-2023, approving amendments to the agreement establishing the Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County as a municipal joint action agency and to the bylaws of the Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County for introduction. Resolution number R46-2024, approving a funding authorization and change order number 2 to the contract with Maple Construction Incorporated for directional boring work. Resolution number R47, 2024, waiving bidding requirements and awarding a contract to Bosick Ford for the purchase of a vehicle. Resolution number R48, 2024, waiving the bidding requirements for the purchase of bulk rock salt and approving a purchase order with Morton Salt Incorporated. Resolution number R49, 2024, approving a contract with Power Line Supply Company for the purchase of 600-volt underground cable. Resolution number R50, 2024, waiving bidding and approving the purchase of software license from Liftoff LLC, approval of annual outdoor seating permits, and approval of the Mayor's Monarch Proclamation.
Thank you, Rob. Oh, man. Thank you, Rob. Now you guys know why I make him read all that stuff. I can't even get your name right, huh? Can you imagine what I do with the list of 20 items? Okay, we'll move ahead on this. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by omnibus vote? So moved.
Second?
That's a roll call vote.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Apatoff?
Yes.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item number 10, ordinances and resolutions. The first this evening is ordinance number M04, 2024, designating 1207 Whitebridge Hill Road as a certified landmark, and this is for introduction. Tonight, council will review the recommendation proposed by the Landmark Preservation Commission designating 1207 Whitebridge Hill Road as a certified landmark after receiving an application from the property owner. And Community Development Director David Schoen will take it from here.
Yes, good evening, President Rintz and trustees. On the screen is an image of the home that is being requested to be designated a certified landmark. This follows a process in which the Landmark Preservation Commission looks at the historical or architectural significance of a property. They use a system, a rating system that they go through, and that the highest score you can receive in that rating system is a score of a 94. So the subject property this evening is referred to as the Arno and Verna Myers House. It's located along the lake on Whitebridge Hill Road. The commission found the home a well-preserved example of a mid-century modern house with international and Wrightian influences, the latter of which would be expected as the architect was a student of Frank Lloyd Wright. And given the rarity of mid-century modern homes along the lake in the community, the commission found such a home should be designated a community landmark. Having gone through their rating system, they gave it a score of 88.8 out of 94. The property owner has requested that the property be designated as a certified landmark. What distinguishes a certified landmark from a designated landmark is that the owner agrees to be bound by the Landmark Preservation Commission's findings when seeking approval of proposed changes to the exterior of the home. A designated landmark, it's an advisory review. The property owner isn't required to follow their recommendations, but when designated a certified landmark, the owner has agreed to follow their recommendations. Of the 31 designated landmarks in the community, only one at 455 Birch is designated a certified landmark. So at its April meeting, the commission unanimously recommended the designation of certified landmark. There was one member of the public that spoke in support of the designation. The ordinance designating the home as a landmark can be found starting on page 145 of your agenda packet. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for David? Any questions for David?
David, what are the property tax implications of this for the property? Are there?
Well, this designation in itself are none. They are able to apply to the state if designated a landmark either at the local level or the national level, that they could apply to the state for a property tax freeze. Under that program, there are a number of criteria that have to be met. One, it needs to be owner occupied in order to receive the property tax freeze. All improvements need to comply with the Secretary of Interior design standards in order to be eligible. Also, in order to benefit from the tax freeze, you have to invest more than 25% of the structure's value. So it needs to be a significant investment in the structure in order to then, as one of the qualifications for the program. That is a state program. It's handled through the State Office of Historic Preservation.
And there's no contemplation of that we know of?
They've expressed an interest in pursuing
With the
the
25% investment, is that,
Well, in order to receive the freeze, they would have to invest more than 25% of the value of the structure.
and those investments, if they relate to exterior work, would have to be approved by the LPC?
Yes, yes.
So when this goes, this cannot be on one.
Whoa,
I'm sorry.
wait, I'm sorry.
The exterior changes, since that the property owners are requesting to be a certified landmark, any exterior changes would also need to be reviewed and approved by our local Landmark Preservation Commission
Okay.
After certification.
after certification, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. Whether or
That's
not
interesting, yeah.
they pursue the property tax freeze.
So when this is designated, if this goes through, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. I mean, whoever buys this house in the future, they're bound by that. Same rules. You can't.
Correct. Once designated as a certified landmark, we will record the approval document against the property,
Yeah.
and it stays with the property until a future property owner may request the designation be removed for whatever reason.
That's what I was
But
wondering,
until
yeah.
that happens, it goes with the land.
I just didn't know if you could. So you could unwind it potentially in the future, and a future owner. I didn't realize that.
You could, yes. We had two, and then a home that became in such great disrepair on, off of Hibbard, off of Pine Lane. The village council agreed to remove that designation.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Others? Okay, I'll open it up for public comment. Would anybody like to speak on this item this evening? Seeing none, I'll bring it back up for comments and discussion. Anybody have any other thoughts they'd like to share?
Did the applicant want to speak? I think the applicant looked like he wanted to speak.
Oh, would the applicant like to speak? Oh, come on up. Sorry. Thanks.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. It is an honor to be able to apply for this landmark designation. I've been a resident of Winnetka for 8 years now. My wife here, Rakshanda, is with me, and we are the proud owners. And we are committed to preserving the home as it sits today. It's over 60 years old, and we are the third owners. The previous owner that we purchased the home lived there for over 50 years. And we will, at this point, with no intent to move, be hopefully there till as long as we can. And I appreciate the village to give us this opportunity to apply for this designation. And what I heard from the Landmark Commission once we applied, that most of the applications that come in are for tearing down the homes. This was one which was different from previous requests that have come in, which is to preserve something that's been out there. And given the unique nature of this home, we believe that it should be preserved. It would be an honor for Winnetka, just like it is an honor for us to have this special architecture that has been out there for so many years and hopefully will be there for many years to come. So again, I appreciate the opportunity for the commission.
Thank you. And thank you for your stewardship. That's really special. It really is. Thank you. All right, any other thoughts, comments, or? Nope. All right, I'll go ahead and ask for a motion to introduce ordinance number M04, 2024.
Second.
That's a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. You'll be on consent agenda at the next meeting for the final, so you don't have to come if you don't want to. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. All right, moving forward, ordinance number M05, 2024, granting an amendment to a special use permit, variations from the Winnetka zoning ordinance, and a certificate of appropriateness for the construction of improvements to existing playgrounds within the R4 single-family residential district. This is up for introduction and possible adoption. Tonight, council will consider the proposed construction improvements to the existing playgrounds at Hubbard Woods Schools. We saw this once before, if I remember correctly, and they decided to do something different. Is that what it boiled down to? Okay, and Community Development Director David Schoen will give us the background on this.
Yes. So we're all familiar with where Hubbard Woods School is. The property is surrounded by single-family residential homes. And a school is allowed in the district, the single-family residential district, by special use permit approval, which the school has, and we're looking for an amendment to that special use this evening. In the agenda packet, we included photos of the locations of the proposed improvements. They're shown here. The school is proposing improvements to 3 separate play areas. In the kindergarten play area in the lower left corner along Hamptondale, the wood chip play surface would be replaced with poured-in-place rubber play surface. The existing equipment would remain the same and in its current location. In the second location, the upper play area up by the school, along the southwest side there, the existing synthetic turf and sand play surface would be replaced with new play surface. In a slightly reconfigured arrangement of the concrete paths in that area. There's also an existing bridge, which we saw on the previous page, that would be relocated in the play area, and the existing gazebo and pergola structures would remain. In addition to the new sandbox, a few small pieces of play equipment are proposed, and I'll show you an image of those in a minute. In the west play area, along the end part of this image, and the area that's located adjacent to single-family residences, the existing play equipment and wood chip play surface would be removed. Additionally, 7,300 square feet of the asphalt area located south towards the center of the site would be removed and converted to lawn. Also, new play equipment would be installed and a new poured-in play rubber play surface underneath that play equipment. The proposed improvements also include extensive landscaping along that southwesterly property line, which, as I said, is shared with the adjacent residential neighbors. And also with this application, they are showing landscaping screening of the mechanical enclosure up in the upper right-hand corner of this image. The mechanical area was approved in 2025, and they agreed to come back and show how they plan to landscape that, which they do with this application. These are a few renderings of the play equipment that the applicant is proposing to install. This table is an excerpt from the zoning matrix that was included in the agenda packet. So when the school addition was approved in 2023, they required a variation for impermeable lot coverage at that time. As the improvements on the site already exceed the permitted impermeable lot coverage. Currently, the amount is 81,000 square feet as approved in 2023. That exceeds the maximum allowed by 17,000 square feet. This project increases the impermeable lot coverage on the site by just 1,400 square feet. I point that out because you'll see it's a variation of a significant amount, but nearly all of that occurred with the school addition building. The playground area is just a small addition to the impermeable lot coverage. And then in terms of the front yard setback along Hamptondale, as I said, the play equipment is staying in the same location. It's because of the rubberized surface is a paved surface. That's what's requiring the variation in the required yard. So all three advisory bodies have reviewed the application. All have unanimously recommended approval. Only one member of the public spoke at any of the three meetings. That was at the first meeting before the ZBA. That was an individual along that southwesterly property line, and he spoke in support, strong support of the project. The school had communications with them, and he responded very favorably to what they were proposing.
Was that Chad?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, questions for David?
I got one quick one. Are there any current flooding issues over there?
There has been, there is, I wouldn't say flooding issues, has been stormwater runoff issues in dealing with the wood chips.
Okay.
And that's been carried away off to adjoining properties. The wood chips are no longer going to be part of the playground.
Yeah.
It'll be this rubberized surface.
Okay, thanks.
David, I have two questions. If I understand, there was a section where we talked about they're removing a significant amount of asphalt and replacing it with lawn. So obviously that would take impermeable surface down, but is that offset by the new impermeable surface from the expansion of the school?
Correct, because
Okay.
we treat wood chips as permeable, but the poured in place is impermeable.
Okay.
So,
Okay, and then secondly, I remember when I was on the ZBA, that they were doing something with the playground then, and the neighbors to the west were quite concerned about how kids throw things into their yard and do things, not necessarily the students at Hubbard Woods, but even after hours. I saw in the minutes that Ann said that they've added, the school's added significant landscaping. So is that landscaping we see newer and more extensive than what is there now?
yes, and the placement of the play equipment is in a different location than what's currently there, which also, that same individual who spoke
Years ago?
years ago was
Yeah.
the individual that came and spoke in support of the playground
Okay.
at the last ZBA meeting.
Okay, well, that's good. Thank you.
Others? No public comment. Would anybody like to offer some comment on this item from the audience? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Brad, would you like to say anything before we move this along?
I'd like to thank the board for looking at our application this evening. We have made significant contact with the neighbors, not only Mr. Humphrey, but the other neighbors to the south of him. We think we have a really good plan here, and we've also looked at engineering for stormwater as well, and that's integrated into this plan. So we're looking for an exciting new play space for the students at Hubbard Woods and for the community at large. And we think we have a great plan this evening and are happy to present this to you this evening.
Thanks, Brad.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Okay, we have a couple of decision points here. We can waive introduction on this. Would that be okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll go down this path. Do I have a motion to waive introduction of ordinance number M05, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
That's a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And now may I have a motion to adopt ordinance number M05, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
And that's a roll call vote.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Apatow?
Yes.
Great, that motion carries. Thank you very much. And thank you for working with those neighbors. I know they were really concerned, and to have Chad come out and actually support the project is fantastic. Awesome job. Thank you so much. That's new, right? I think it's getting worse every time it goes up. Okay, let's get through this so we can get to Ted's favorite time of the evening. Old business, there's none. New business, there's none. And appointments, I will now review the council organization assignments for 2024-2025. You guys have all seen this earlier today, but I'll run through them because that's what I have to do, right, Rob?
Yep.
Okay, President Pro Tem will be Trustee Dearborn, Warrants, Trustee Albinson, Chamber of Commerce, Trustee Dahlman, EFC, Trustee Dearborn, Plan Commission, Trustee Apatow, Swank will be myself and Rob Bahan. The Northwest Municipal Conference, we have Trustee Handler, Rob Bahan, and myself. The Red Center, we have Trustee Orsic, Community Outreach Liaison, which is the farmers market, and some new things this year too, right, Kim? Yeah, is Kim. LPC Liaison is Kim. Stormwater Infrastructure and Liaison is myself and Trustee Albinson. Ditto for the post office, and the Winnetka Park District Lakefront Liaisons are myself and Trustee Apatow. I just wanted to clarify one thing, because I know there was some confusion on this previously, because there is some overlap on stormwater and the WPD. The whole idea behind the WPD Lakefront Liaison was twofold. It was one, to negotiate a intergovernmental agreement with the Winnetka Park District when it comes to the potential relocation of our stormwater discharge on Elder. And in addition, any of the things, if the Park District had elected to take a IGA approach to their beach improvements, then Rob and I would have been leading that charge on the negotiation. Now that the Park District is elected to go through the public process rather than one down here at the table, Rob will be reporting back on that as it goes through from the Plan Commission front. So the whole idea behind stormwater infrastructure versus WPD was I wanted to bring Kirk along on the final phases of the improvements on the west side, and more importantly, to be an available resource when it comes to looking on the east side evaluations as that stuff starts coming in. There's always a lot of interim steps in these before they reach council, and that's where the stormwater liaison infrastructure person would step in and be a second at the table with myself. Very similar to the way that we did the west side with Andy. So there's a little bit of a differential there, but clearly when it comes to the Park District, Rob will be pulling the laboring oar on that. So does that make sense? Sure.
What other taxing bodies for the east side stormwater work will require a liaison?
It all depends what the design does.
Potentially school?
Could be New Trier.
Okay.
Could be D36 again, if we
Just
find
'cause I
something
feel like
over there?
Schools and parks was heavy on the west side, not so much on the east side that
I-
Oh, okay, so
could.
potentially that. But then I know in our, again, clarifying the distinction between the two roles, in our last study session, we had a pretty extensive talk about expanding what was the quote park district liaison role, which up till now was defined as primarily stormwater, but expanding it to be broader now that we know they're coming forward with their projects. So that is still what this WPD lakefront liaison is.
Well, there's nothing left there anymore, Kim. That's the problem, because the Park District is elected to take a different path in seeking their approvals on the lakefront. So rather than coming into a negotiated IGA on the entire improvements, much as we did with the golf course and Crow Island and the Forest Preserve, they're bringing this through a public process through Plan Commission and the subsidiary boards. So the need to have somebody
Not that
report
the
back.
stormwater component, if there's a stormwater pipe component in their plan.
Then Rob and I will sit down and negotiate
Okay.
that. But we're so
I
far
hate to
away
see
from
us-
that.
I know, I hate to see us be inefficient and not build on what
No.
work is
And look, this is-
done by.
This is an important issue, for
Oh,
sure, you
yeah.
know? And I think all of us, it's incumbent on all of us to do as much independent research, study, and thought. I mean, just to make sure that we're up to speed. So, I mean, you know, there's nothing that prohibits a trustee from attending a Plan Commission meeting or a zoning meeting or a design review meeting if they want that information. And I encourage all of us to do it. I'm sure I'll be popping up at a couple of them. But when it comes to the ongoing activities at Plan Commission, Trustee Apatow will be our man for that. So, everybody okay?
I think, Kim, what you're, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems to me that kind of what we're saying is I understand the stormwater IGA and that type of thing. That's very specific. But this whole process could be a meandering process where we don't know how it's going to evolve. I mean, it's on a path right now, but there could be a situation along the way where having voices from this body come into play would make sense. I don't know what that would be, but my assumption would be that if that were the case, that you and Rob Apatow would be those voices.
I think we need to be really careful because this is going through a public process and it's a highly emotionally charged issue. And anything that looks like any activities that we engage in that look prejudicial with respect to our final votes here on the matter when it reaches council could be dangerous.
Well, I would,
And
yeah, I would
I think
only-
we need to
yeah.
be very, very, very careful
Agreed.
and singular in our thinking on this.
All I'm saying is that here we sit today, we know what the path looks like. We don't know 6 months from now what it's going to look like. It might look just the same, where this liaison role would only be confined to the stormwater. But there could be a situation where we need voices from the council to provide efficiency to communication or whatever it might be. And it seems to me that when the role says lakefront liaisons, it's potentially broader than just the stormwater, potentially.
The whole idea of that position was to have a team available to negotiate an agreement with the sister taxing body, period. Now that there could have been more to the role had the Park District elected to go the IGA route for the entire project. But they elected not to do that. They were offered the opportunity to go through a process here of negotiating all those items, which then the council would be weighing in on literally weekly as we go through that. But now we don't have that. Now the process is public, and the public and our advisory boards are going to be the ones working on this and bringing all the information to light so that the public and hopefully us can consume it.
Okay.
So if it gets to a point where it seems like we need to be directly weighing in, but my feeling on weighing in on this project now that they've got an active application, it would be a bad idea in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. You have to be very careful, as Chris said, not to be prejudicial on this. I also know that it's, since the first time we spoke, with the Park District, it's been a hell of a learning curve. And the continuity is, I agree with the continuity on it, but you're right, Bob, I don't know what twists and turns it may take, because it's taken a bunch so far. And so, but I agree, we have to be very clear that we are looking at facts and, but also informing the rest of the council so everyone's on the same page.
I agree. Okay, any others, questions on this? Okay. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the council organizational assignments by omnibus vote? Nobody wants to work.
So moved.
Second.
We don't prove it.
Moved, I seconded.
Yeah,
Okay,
just a worker bee.
yeah, all those, this is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thanks, Peter.
Okay, now that we approved it, can I just warn all the trustees, watch for the email to sign up for the farmer's market that starts in a matter of weeks. Now that I'm officially in charge again.
Now for the fun part of it. I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing pending or probable litigation pursuant to Section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act. Under the motion, when we adjourn the closed session, this meeting will automatically and immediately adjourn without the conduct of any further business or comments. May I have that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Not tonight. Trustee Dahlman.
Yes.
Trustee Apatow.
Yes.
Trustee Orsic.
Yes.
Trustee Handler.
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn.
Yes.
Trustee Albinson.
Yes. That motion carries. We will now recess to executive session. I pulled.